Dumelang bagaetsho re la mogela mo lenaneong la rona le le ntšha le bitswang Rise. My name is Kgomotso Matsunyane, and this is the show where each week we explore various topics ranging from love, sex and friendship to finance, health and personal agency. Initiated by the Soul City Institute, this show is designed to encourage young women to aspire to be greater than their circumstances. Over the next 26 weeks, you will be joined by myself and my lovely co-host Khanysile Mazibuko, who is a community theatre arts facilitator, Nyiko Shikwambane, a final year law student at Wits University, and Lebo Ramafoko, who is the CEO of the Soul City Institute. I'm very excited and I hope you enjoy our company as much as I'm sure we will enjoy yours. We have a show! This is the happy guys. Because it's a big deal show. Congratulations and welcome to your new show.
Oh, we got a show.
We got a show. We really do have a show.
We do indeed.
Well, welcome to the show. Lebo, why is it that this show was so important for the Soul City Institute to do?
Well, we are very excited to be doing this show. As you know, right from the beginning of democracy, Soul City has been using media, social mobilization and advocacy for health and development in South Africa. The core of the show gave 900 clubs across the country. Young women in these clubs who will really have an opportunity to speak about issues that affect them. This is our own club, and we will also be having a conversation. As we have a conversation about different issues, even if they are not within our own Rise Young Women's Club, would be able to start talking about these various issues affecting young women. And that is where Kanye and Nyiko come in. This is a show for young people, about young people, with young women.
Why is it only young women in these clubs?
Firstly, in South Africa, researchers young women between the ages of 15 and 24 are most at risk of HIV. Soul City has a club. Renali Soul Buddies clubs steady primary school that have been running for more than 10 years. And research even when they are much older, as from about 18 or so, they are less likely to engage in risky sexual behavior.
Making the circumstances so vulnerable as young women.
For patriarchy is the biggest obstacle and the biggest enemy to not only young women, but to all women in this country. And actually, to the men as well. It might serve them in the short term, but in the long run, really, it's something that we need to review and something like a culture that we need to change for ourselves. And I'm hoping that through this show, through these clubs, that we can create our own cultures, meaning that can women make our own decisions for ourselves, and can we take more agency in the bedroom? Can we turn men's minds around to not treat us as objects, but rather as equal partners? That's what I'm really hoping that we will accomplish from Rise.
There are certain practices, I think, as Batu, that we need to interrogate that keep young women, that hold young women hostage. You know, I think the culture, the things that we're doing, and ask that question, Hore, what is it about our culture that keeps young women, you know, hostage?
Well, when I as moto young king, as well, it's
not necessarily said so, but then also just in society generally, we're raised to aspire to marriage. Right? You're raised to it's almost the greatest
marriage
achievement.
To a man
Also, right. To a man, right? But now the actual marriage, traditionally, the proposal cannot be made by the woman. Right. So now you aspire to this thing, but it's not your
not your domain.
It's not your domain to introduce.
It's not such a big thing. South Africans, that's another thing you research, are really not getting married as much as in other places. And if Batune Banyala was stick to their partners, then that wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
I think the issue for now, more than our sexual relations were really, for me, disruptive religion. Why understand? As a woman, you don't have agency to your own sexuality. For me, it's not important. But is it safe?
But you know, when you're strong about your sexuality and you own it, oh, I'm a sexual being, I'm a strong woman, I can do this, I can do that. How nyali?
You think?
Powerful, opinionated women.
Because banyaka di style it's all dira. Mare, they are not gonna take you to their mama.
So
because I think
that
no, absolutely.
The side dish.
Yeah.
Oh, munatinyana mareberia ko onyalwa mila.
We almost need a conversation. Mare, have these ways of being men and women really helped us?
Because if we're going to have this conversation without the presence of men, then like we're being asked to evolve without them.
Oh, but it's good not to have men sometimes, but
yeah,
no. But
after the break, we'll be joined by feminist author and professor Dr Pumla Gqola. Dulang fela yalo ra buage.
Really amogela gape. Moyeng wa rona wa kajeno has written extensively on the subject of negotiating culture in an increasingly modernized society. She's an associate professor in the Department of African Literature at Wits University and is a published and highly regarded academic. She's joined on the couch by Khanyi and Lebo. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Nyiko, and welcome to Rise, Dr Pumla Gqola. Before we start our conversation, our team went to Nongoma in KZN to speak to the cultural custodians in the area and the young women who have undergone virginity testing and are at marriage age.
Mina njengesingami ngineminyaka 24 ngiseyitshiti ngintombi yomhlanga ngihamba umhlanga ngilotsholiwe kusekhona umuntu osethe hayi seyathanda ukuvela ekhaya wavela walobola khipha inkomo zababa zonke kodwa lokho akungivimbanga ukuthi ngisi hayi ngoba nakusengilotsholiwe sengizohamba ngithi hayi sengiyayinikela kuyena ngiqhubekile ngathi hayi mina ngisathanda ukuyiphatha yibe lo muntu engiyena until kuze kufike isikhathi somshado.
Ngaqala ukuhlola ngineminyaka u13 years ngayicelela kumina bazali bami and ngangi excited kakhulu ngesikhathi bengivumela ukuthi ngihambe. Ngesikhathi sengahlolwa ngaze ngafika grade 12 kwafika isikhathi lapho sokuthi ngihambe ngeuniversity and euniversity kwangekho is ngoba impilo yase-university ayifani nempilo yasemakhaya. E-university experience into eziningi nabangani obatholayo futhi uthola abangani abahlukene kodwa abangani bami angaze ngibe nawo umngane e-university ohlolwayo bekuyimina kuphela kodwa abangani bami angaze bengi-influence ukuthi ngibajoyine ngihlalile ngaze ngaqeda e-university.
Kukhona ilobolo lesintu eliyisiko bese bakhona ilobolo lesigodi sendawo okumkhuba nje wendawo bese bakhona ilobolo esibuye sibone ukuthi lingamanyala ke manje leli qale ulobolo into beyitshitshi esuke ukade uyimisele iduku usuka kuyo kade itshitshi yasikumisela iduku yasuka lapha ekumiseni iduku yaya yenza lokho kuthiwa ukubona umuzi yaphuma ekuboneni umuzi yasiyalotsholwa. Intombi eyilitshitshi ilotsholwa ngenkomo ezigcwele. Ngesuku lethi lakaZulu intombi ilotsholwa ngenkomo ezi-11 uma izalwa umuntu ingazalwa ebukhosini. Kuhle kwakho ubuhlobo obungapheli.
Uthando lwabantu ababili bathandana bashelene baqomana bathandana base beqomana benikezana ucu. Ilesikhathi kumfana sezofika kubuke sengena nevalo kadeqa ihlahla zonke lezi sekuzomalela idubu. Yabona lidubu. Selizoma leli idubu. Limiswa yini? Alimiswa omama. Miswa izinsizwa. Insizwe ezethembayo ukuthi nayo izoshaya ukushaya okuqona. Ngeke uvele uthathe idubu uthi ulimisa ungazilutho. Njengoba manje akusashelwa nasasekushelwana kanjani. Sekushelwana ngamafoni.
So mo inserting yarona kutlile a lot about buntombi, and older people always have so much to say about young people's sexuality. So how do we negotiate ourselves and our bodies within cultural practices?
There's no easy answer, there's no simple answer, there's no single answer to how to how women choose to be what they want to be rather than what they're pressured into. At the same time, though, we know, all of us, regardless of when we grew up or where we grew up, all of us have always known girls who didn't quite do what they were supposed to do.
Yeah,
right?
myself included.
Exactly, who played with the wrong kinds of people, who spoke too loudly, who were too smart, who asked the wrong kinds of questions, and so actually, while patriarchy makes it very hard for us to become fully ourselves, especially when we're little girls, at the same time we know that some little girls have this kind of spirit and have this capacity to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Doctor, please just explain this word for me. Yeah, patriarchy. Iminang exactly lufukul.
Patriarchy is a way of life, a way of organizing society that basically says that men matter more than women. Boys matter more than girls. But more than that, it also says that girls have to be one list of things and boys have to be one list of things. So for example, it says women are emotional and men are logical.
How does this whole thing, culture and patriarchy affect men?
Patriarchy puts enormous pressure on both men and women and trans people. First of all, it says there's only men and women, no boys and girls, right? But it also puts enormous pressure for us to be each other's opposites.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it makes it very difficult to connect. So it says to boys, you have to be strong and tough all the time. You have to be in charge. You have to be dominant. You have to find a way to ensure that you are these things. And violence is a way to do these things if they're resisted, if you don't really want them. So you have to prove that you're a man all the time.
I want to understand something. I hear everything you're saying, but then how does feminism relate to us as young women?
I think feminism relates to all women, all men, all human beings, because it is about changing our society and making it freer so that right? Not because right? Be closer to who we really are. It's not surprising that there are bad associations that by feminists in a stigma. Because what is a feminist? A feminist is somebody who's saying this current system, that the way in which the current system speaks about, pressures us into these narrow roles. Patriarchy, it's because umfazi, indoda yodwa entitled to pleasure, and all of these things. So feminists are saying there's something wrong with that system. Now, obviously, the system is going to defend itself in the same way that any oppressive system will protect itself. The apartheid, the revolutionaries were called communists because communists are supposed to be a bad thing. They were called terrorists. Any powerful violent system in the world is going to demonize those who seek to smash it. And I'm not apologetic about wanting to smash patriarchy. I don't think there's anything wrong with being critical of lobola, and I don't think there's anything wrong going afunu lotyolo.
But are you necessarily heckling or being sold? I mean, isn't it khutlisa di family tse pedi together and to celebrate this marriage thing? I mean, you're extending your love to both families.
We like the doublespeak. We like to pretend that when people are negotiating over lobola, it's just people come and it's cordial, and it's like, we two families can love each other, and there's no. But I mean, in many cases, maybe in most cases, there is haggling. Right? The valuation is financial. Valuation is debated. Valuation is negotiated in the same way that you do a business deal.
For me, it is not the ritual, but also understanding what it means, what was it there for, and what is the negotiation.
And why are you in it? Why are you in it?
Okay, sorry, time is running. Pumla, if there's one message just before you close, okay, if the young woman baba listening this show, what would it be?
Ngenxa singafundiswa indlela zozithanda as amadoda, abafazi, abantwana bangamakhwenkwana bangamantombazana, especially amantombazana, end up nabantu abathi bayazithanda kodwa babe besicontrola. Umuntu othi urongo uba nguwe, abesithi uyakuthanda akakuthandi lo muntu. Umuntu oxelela into yoba awonelanga, awukho ukurongo uba nguwe, akayotshomi yakho, akakuthandi.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. I hope because a lot of the topics that we discussing are related to medical ways and Lebo, Doctor. Hi. Musikewa Suta will be back right after the break.
re a le amogela gape show ena ya rona ya Rise e ka se kgone gore e fetole dipotso tso tsotlhe tsa lona mme seo ga se re ratang go se dira se re ratang go se dira ke gore we must continue this conversation sicela nina especially young women ukuthi lapho nihleli khona nikwazi ukuthi nithethe ngalezinto. But before we go very far, ndicela ukubuza nina ke ukuthi how has your culture influenced your lives and your outlook to life? Do you ever feel right ke mosadi wa Motswana tota or whatever your culture is?
I'm the most useless Motswana woman that was ever born, and I'm proud of it. I reject vast tracts of the culture that do not serve me. I only take what I need and what serves me. Otherwise, what's the point? My culture does not exist outside of people. You can't just impose it on people. I find that it only serves men.
A go monate o ile gae o apere skete o rwele tuku o itse o le mo tirong tsa setho nna ke di rata byang ke a di rata a ke batla bua maka ke a di rata
nna ke motho
re lwantsha banna ya nong ga re culture ya ba promote.
No, I give a luanti, but I don't have to accept it. And my rejection of it means that I'm a single woman. Because for the most part, patriarchy, patriarchy monate for banna, one kalokanya. No, it's the idea. And for basadi ba when o ka se rate now, o tlisetswa dijo ka tray every day, but ba bang bona ba fiwa di plate, wena ba fiwa di o fiwa tray. O mo rena nyana No.
Mare, are you telling me how to take nyana ntoro wa itse mare ke dietse papa tie ka tray?
There's worse things in the world than being the black sheep and not belonging. There are worse things, and young women, black women, need to be told that. You don't always have to belong. You don't always have to look like this. You don't always have to do this in order to belong. There's parts where I won't fight it. Where it says in a way that I don't like it. No, we can't.
I think for me it gets very complicated. Like culture can become very schizophrenic, because now some South Africa, ignoring there's this big elephant of Western culture now that we're trying to balance.
That's why
it's also a culture now. And I think now we're at that place where we're trying to negotiate between the two. Because being completely immersed in one influences how you perceive the other, you know? And then how about defend the other will automatically influence kamoko or perceiving Western culture, your isms and schisms, your patriarchy, your feminism.
I think Mobasadi, the biggest problem is the standards are different. And I think ke yone leng gore ke fila fela gore e ka skebe ya bereka o ka skebe wa re ga monna a etsa se acceptable ibile ra se tlotlomatsa ga se etsiwa ke mosadi it has a negative connotation
without a doubt.
Monthe ya lenyalo goreng lenyalo le le botlhoka yana mo society
ga le botlhokwa at all. No, I'm sorry, that is my opinion. You asked for that. I don't think we need it at all.
You know, even with me pursuing my legal degree, in community of property, you know, I want my, yes.
For the why?
Because you can't have relationships with inanimate objects. Kgomotso. You can only have relationships with people.
In community of property, right?
Yeah. So I want.
I'm not saying be married to an object.
In community, honey.
To build yourselves, to build economically, you know, to expand in your property, attaining your goals and whatever. Out of community of property with accrual. So that would mean, all my debts and my property that I owned outside of the marriage would be mine. And then upon getting married, everything there. So fine. Out of community
community of property, so not worth it. Hey, it really isn't. But anyway, I would judge.
I haven't been married. I don't know.
I have, by the way. Can I just say it?
Please tell us
I just tell you?
You've been there, you value more than Rona.
No, because everybody looks at me as if like, what's wrong with her? She hates men. She'll never be married because they assume that I come from that extreme position. No, not at all. I don't hate men. I was married to a man. He's absolutely fantastic person. I just don't care for the institution. Bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what the thing is, Nim? Now, I agree that marriage is a beautiful thing. And the Linda, it would be lovely, Khonyalwa. But, and I think in Kgomotso that batho ke bone ba go jajang go sa nyalwa. So maybe if batho ba tlotsa mo ditabeng tsa rona, you know, then we'll be fine with not being married or with being married.
What I absolutely hate ke taba ya gore worth ya gago ibe ka gore o na le monna na mo bophelong ba gago. Do you understand what I'm saying? Ga se gore ana wa mmatla gore ga o mmatle. And I think that is what is making basadi ba bantsi gore ba kene mo di relationship tse leng gore solang ka le nna ke na le solang ka nka change sefane. And that is the problem with it. Now what I'm saying is that baba le batlang aba le create but on their own terms.
Right. Yes.
And baba sa le batlang, they must also be okay. Your worth should not be linked to gore o na le monna or ga una monna.
Hey, Mari,
No,
a lot of people do judge you for that.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I certainly got judged for that.
Yeah.
Like morning. And whenever
are so happy to be chosen,
listen, can I
they
tell
will
you?
overlook a whole bunch of violences and injustices that are basically, you know, that are imposed upon them in the marriage because when they're just happy to be chosen.
Basically,
You know?
get chose. No, wait a
I was meaning it in a sarcastic way.
Come
on, really?
It was a setup. It was a setup. All right, it's clear that this is a debate that will continue to burn in our minds for a long time to come. Whichever side you're on, netefatsa gore ke tshwetso e e go loketseng. That's what this show is all about. We encourage free thinking always and in all ways. Ra leboga Dr Pumla Gqola go ba le rona, re leboge le lona gape ko gae go ba le rona gape mo lenaneong la rona le bitswang Rise. We look forward to many more weeks in your living rooms, kitchens and bedrooms. Let's continue the conversation on Twitter, Mxit and Facebook. Please let us know what you think about what we talked about today. Good night, South Africa. Woof, woof.